Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna. Open the door. The door's not working right. It's broken. Yeah, just keep it open. You know how to open it? Do you know how to unlock it, Arjun? No. All right, just sit. Leave it for that. It's not that cold now. You play the card. He plays the cartels. You play professionally.
I cannot sing it. I either do or
Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Vishnupad Paramahansa Purudikacharya Ashtottara Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Purudikacharya Ashtottara Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad-gītā Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, on this 9th day of May, 2023 in San Diego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad-gītā as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we are in chapter 16, entitled The Divine and Demoniac Natures, text number 7, at the bottom of page 623. Pravittim cha nivrittim cha jana navidur asuraha nashaucham napi chacharo nasatyam teshu vidyate. Can you try to unlock that door properly? And then we can close it, because it maybe get a little noisy out there. Thanks. You know how to unlock it? Okay. Time out. Yeah. The thing is, it didn't work right last night either. Let's see what happens. Sorry. Is there a bug?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't kill the bug.
Where did it go?
Small one. Oh, there he is. All right. Anyway, he'll be all right for now. There's hardly anyone here. All right. All right. Text number 7. Pravitting cha navritting cha jana na vidurasuraha na shauchang na pichacharo na satyam teshu vidyate. Pravitting cha navritting cha jana na vidurasuraha na shauchang na pichacharo na satyam teshu vidyate. Pravitting cha navritting cha jana na vidurasuraha na shauchang na pichacharo na satyam teshu vidyate. Go ahead again.
Pravrityam cha nivrityam cha
Pravitting cha nivritting cha
janana vidurasuraha
janana vidurasuraha
na socham na pichacharo
na shaucham na pichacharo
na satyam teshu vidyate
na satyam teshu vidyate. Pravitting cha nivritting cha janana vidurasuraha na shaucham na pichacharo na satyam teshu vidyate. I'll read the synonyms. Pravittim, acting properly. Cha, also. Nivrittim, not acting improperly. Cha and janaha, persons. Na, never. Viduhu, no. Asuraha, of demoniac quality. na, never, shaucham, cleanliness, na, nor api, also, cha, and acharaha, behavior, na, never, satyam, truth, teshu, in them, vidyate, there is. Translation: those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness, nor proper behavior, nor truth is found in them. Purport: in every civilized human society there is some set of scriptural rules and regulations which is followed from the beginning. Especially among the Aryans, those who adopt the Vedic civilization and who are known as the most advanced civilized peoples, those who do not follow the scriptural injunctions are supposed to be demons. Now, suppose here means said, are said to be demons, called demons. Therefore, it is stated here that the demons do not know the scriptural rules, nor do they have any inclination to follow them. Most of them do not know them, and even if some of them know, they have not the tendency to follow them. They have no faith, nor are they willing to act in terms of the Vedic injunctions. The demons are not clean, either externally or internally. One should always be careful to keep his body clean by bathing, brushing teeth, shaving, changing clothes, etc. As far as internal cleanliness is concerned, one should always remember the holy names of God and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The demons neither like nor follow all these rules for external and internal cleanliness. As for behavior, there are many rules and regulations guiding human behavior, such as the Manu Samhita, which is the law of the human race. Even up to today, those who are Hindu follow the Manu Samhita. Laws of inheritance and other legalities are derived from this book. Now, in the Manu Samhita, it is clearly stated that a woman should not be given freedom. Now, I'm going to explain this in a minute. That does not mean that women are to be kept as slaves, but they are like children. Children are not given freedom, but that does not mean that they are kept as slaves. The demons have now neglected such injunctions, and they think that women should be given as much freedom as men. However, this has not improved the social condition of the world. Actually, a woman should be given protection at every stage of life. She should be given protection by the father in her younger days, by the husband in her youth, and by the grown-up sons in her old age. This is proper social behavior according to the Manu Samhita. But modern education has artificially devised a puffed-up concept of womanly life, and therefore marriage is practically now an imagination in human society. The social condition of women is thus not very good now, although those who are married are in a better condition than those who are proclaiming their so-called freedom. The demons, therefore, do not accept any instruction which is good for society. And because they do not follow the experience of great sages and the rules and regulations laid down by the sages, the social condition of the demoniac people is very miserable. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnanandjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So, Srila Prabhupada, when he came to America in 1965, and he began spreading Krishna consciousness, he saw that people are not following the Manu Samhita. They're not following practically any. It was a very kind of a jungle-like atmosphere. And so Krishna consciousness really transcends all that. And the practical matter is that in Srila Prabhupada's movement, he gave great responsibility to women. One of the first ladies who joined was eventually named Yamuna. She was very famous. And he gave her the responsibility of setting the standards for deity worship in the Krishna Balaram temple, which is in Vrindavan, the holiest place of India, and many other responsibilities. Today, in America, 5 of the main temples in America are run by ladies, and with great responsibility. In Chicago, I used to visit there every year around Christmas time. There's a wonderful leader there named Hemangi, And she runs the whole temple, beautiful deities. They distribute a lot of books, more books than we do here. And the center is very, very prosperous. The largest center in the whole country, with the most devotees living in the vicinity and visiting the temple every day, is in northern Florida, Alachua. It's run by a wonderful devotee named Mukhya Devi Dasi. And she oversaw the installation of the Krishna Balaram deities there. They didn't have enough room in their deity department for all the clothes that they needed. So for years they were postponing the installation. So she said, okay, we're gonna build a whole new building just for cooking. And that opened up more room, and they were able to install those deities. Beautiful deities. I have them pictures on my my iPad. Maybe I can hand them around. But she's been running that temple for at least 12 years now. This is wonderful. Right here in Tucson, just a short drive, there's a devotee who used to live here. Her name is Sandamini, and she's been running that center, one of the most successful vegetarian restaurants in the whole Tucson is there. And she's now initiating, actually. She's been running there. So what I'm saying is that, practically speaking, Srila Prabhupada gave women so much responsibility in his movement, and to that day, and to this day, it's true. So, but we can see that when you have this quality, this is a very important phrase, pravritim chanavritim jananaviradada. When people don't know what's to be done and what's not to be done, there's kind of almost a law of the jungle that develops in society. Just look at what's happening in America today. This whole thing with guns, which is a very, masculine thing to do. If I have guns, not just a gun, but guns, I'll be safe. And it's resulted in havoc in society. So the Manu Samhita has not been imposed upon ISKCON. It's not suitable for modern people to try to run their lives that way, if you read it. But it is, in the Vedic culture, it is one of the many books of law books that are used. So the rest of this chapter is going to be speaking about the qualities of, unfortunately, that we'll see very prominent, reflected in society today. And one of these, he says here, na shaucham na pichacharo. The cleanliness is so important. Cleanliness, even in English, isn't it? Cleanliness is next to godliness. If everything becomes dirty, we studied the modes of nature in chapter 14. And it affects your consciousness. If you walk into a room or a house and there's dirt everywhere, it's it's very disturbing. Yeah, the vibes are very disturbing. Well, if it's clean and shiny and everything, then you feel more comfortable there. So this uncleanliness is one of the qualities, both on a personal level and in thoughts and everything. And chacharo means behavior. We read the basic qualities of the demons, which we'll read in text 4. Dambo, darpa, or mimanas. Damba, I remember it says pride, but there's a large measure of pretension there, of wanting to look like something you're not. What are we confronted now? There's a world of lies out there. People, the quality of truthfulness, which is so important, which is a divine quality, is said to be the last leg of religion that's being destroyed in this world. So many lies and disinformation, misinformation. People can't, how can you trust anything? And so that's a big quality of the demons. For exploitation, they'll lie so much. Easily angered, and harshness, ignorance. All of these are qualities of the demons. And as Krishna said in text 5, Daivi Sambhava Mokshaya, the divine qualities are conducive to liberation. We always have to come back to the point, what is the great mission of human life? It's not just a form of life that we can more easily exploit nature and have extraordinary ways of enjoyment, of sensual enjoyment. That's a tragic waste of human life. As the Vedanta Sutra says, Vedanta means the end of knowledge, the ultimate knowledge. It's very interesting that Prabhupada's name has that in Bhakti Vedanta. Bhakti Vedanta. Bhakti is devotional service, cultivation of service to God, loving service to God. Veda means knowledge, or all of the wisdom of the Vedic age. And Anta means the ultimate end. So what is the ultimate end or purpose or goal of knowledge? Bhakti. Pure loving devotion to God. And what are the benefits? The main benefit is that this is your last life in a physical body. We don't recognize. I mean, we know theoretically that we're, you know, if all things go well, we'll go into old age. We know that there's going to be disease along the way, but maybe we'll live to be. But then eventually, time will eventually break down this body, and then we die. Now, many people, I think that that's it. When you die, there's no end. But that's not it. The basic principle of Vedic wisdom is that we don't die. Is that the body dies, certainly, but you don't die. The soul doesn't die. Transmigration of the soul, karma and reincarnation. That karma is a very important thing. You're making your destiny with everything you do in this lifetime. So how can we get the best next life? And the best next life is not simply a life in a birth in a wealthy family or even an educated family, or no. The best next life is not in any material body. It's regaining our spiritual identity. And this is all a great mystery. It cannot be investigated by psychology or mundane history or science or like that. It has to be understood and experienced by yoga, by practicing bhakti yoga. And so there are so many injunctions. I remember before I even heard of Hare Krishna, this is back in the early 70s, I learned this phrase, which I think, does every Hindu kid learn this saying? Tamasi ma jyotirgama, right? How's it go?
Tamso ma jyotirgamaya.
And the other two? See? You see?
The last one.
What's the second one? Asato ma sadgamaya. Yeah. And then mrityum ma amritam gamaya. Yeah. Which means this, is that there's two ways of understanding it. One is ma can mean not. Don't stay in darkness, come to the light. Don't stay in the temporary, ever-changing world of asat. Come to the sat world, to the eternal world, eternal. Don't stay in the world of birth and death. Come to the world of eternal life. And this is an injunction, you know, it's very inspiring just to understand that. So then the question, well, how do I do that? I don't want to become enlightened. No, I don't want to be in darkness. I don't want to, you know, face birth and death, It's painful. How do I get my eternal life? And so that question of how, where do I go, what do I do? That's you know, for this inquiry is an essential part of life in leading a life guided by wisdom. And this Bhagavad-gītā is a summary. It's a summary of the philosophy of existence and how we can mold our life in such a way that we can move toward that eternal life of unlimited happiness forever. It sounds like a pipe dream. No. You know, this is what life is all about. And so then you have the various mottos. What is it? YOLO. You only live once. You ever see? And FOMO, fear of missing out, right? So since YOLO, FOMO. In other words, since you only live once, don't miss out. Grab as much pleasure as you can get, right?
There's a new one.
Sorry, Dravida, you're so hip.
There's a new one going on, quiet quitting.
What is it? Oh, quiet quitting, I heard it. What does that mean?
Saying, even if you are in a job, just quietly quit it.
Even while you have it.
Don't work, just pretend to be working.
Just do the minimum.
Just do the minimum and enjoy your life.
Great. Really? So the thing is, this is the age of Kali that you learn about, the ages, the different ages, just like different seasons, And Kali means quarrel, it means conflict. And what are some of the symptoms of the age? First thing is we don't live that long compared to previous ages because of the diseases, because of all of the conflict, all of these different things. If you live to be 100 years, it's amazing, you know. And oftentimes you may live to 100, but you're not that healthy on the way, you know. It's not really a lifetime; it's your health time, you know, right? Yeah. So in previous ages, just the previous age. So these 4 ages, you have Satya Yuga, you have Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. Now Satya means truth. In that age, everybody knew this science, and meditation was kind of everyone did it, and people would become self-realized as a matter of course because they lived these tenets very carefully. But as time, but time destroys everything. So gradually, I don't know the order in which they came. Treta means 3, and Dwapara means 2. And so I said, well, why is the 3rd age named Dwapara, which is for 2, you know? But that's not the Treta means there were 3 of the 4 elements or pillars of religiosity. One of them had been destroyed. So what are those pillars of religiosity? Austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. Now you can see where do you find that prominently, you know, today. So there's one leg that's still around, you know, truthfulness. There's a lot of cruelty. Nobody is embracing austerity. They don't understand it. You know, they're forced to be austere. But when you involuntarily undergo austerities for purification, then you can really make advance. So the truthfulness, and just look at everywhere you look. You know, you get on the internet and you read something that you're in, before you know it, you believe something that's completely untrue. And you're in a kind of a conspiracy, pocket, and you get on there and you read other people. So you get reinforced in this misconception, and it happens all the time. And so truthfulness. Just look at I don't even want to name names, but the most famous liar we have today, very prominent. I'm not going to name his name, but. It's very scary. So the truthfulness is then people can't trust anything, and so they just make their own reality. So what are we after? We're after the absolute truth. It's called the absolute truth, and the absolute truth, it has to do with where is everything coming from, and what are the qualities of that entity from which everything comes. What is my relationship with that entity? And this world, how does this world come about? All these basic questions. Why is there anything? If you don't ask those questions, then you just gradually can sink down to animal life. Trying to get enough to eat, and enjoy the senses as much as possible, but that's self-destructive. Then your next life is very dark. You could easily lose the human form of life. The human form of life is the pinnacle of evolution, And in human form of life also, you can continue to progress. Or you can live like an animal. The freedom is there. So Krishna is describing in this chapter, remember how the chapter began with a whole list of divine qualities, how we can become purified in advance, become happy. Now he's talking about the demonic qualities. And some of these verses, pravittim cha nivrittim cha. What is the right thing to do, proper thing to do for our elevation, and what should we avoid? You think about it. Life is a question of doing one thing and not doing another, following one path and not another. And some of them, I was so fortunate. I grew up. I was a child of the 50s and 60s, believe it or not. And right in the 60s, the drug culture was so prominent, and I was going to school in New York. I had my own apartment with a couple of guys, and I'm right in the middle of the drug culture. It's the mid-60s, it's 68, 67, 68, And I won't deny it, I used to smoke marijuana every day. But it was a lot weaker marijuana than they got now.
It's all hybrid and chemicals.
Oh, no, but they make it, it's much stronger now. You don't know. I know because I survived it. I wouldn't survive this. Really?
Why is it stronger now?
Because you make more money that way. Because, you get higher quicker,
Get addicted quicker also.
Yeah, it's not. So Krishna consciousness, we have these 4 regulative principles. Sometimes we, we kind of hesitate to mention them, but they're essential. And it's not that after, you practice Krishna consciousness while you're still like straining, oh God, I just got to have a hamburger. No, it's like, oh, never, never more. I don't need meat, You may have a taste for it when you come, but then Prabhupada's a genius. He had these elaborate, wonderful cooking. Indian cooking is incredible, and he was a master of it. And he would personally cook the first feast, and devotees, oh wow, and they're free. People would come for that, and stay for the kirtan, and they would learn that way. But it supplants the taste. Plus, it's sacred food. When you eat prasadam, it's offered to God. It's cooked with that he'll enjoy. You offer it to him. Then you take the remnants. So it's an act of love. It's not just greedily eating. You know what I'm saying? So it's a sacrament. So you're getting purified. You're losing your taste for horrible foodstuffs that you don't need to live. I've been a vegetarian longer than a devotee. I became a devotee in 72, but from 69 on, for health reasons, I was just eating vegetarian. Actually, just raw food. A lot of juices and everything, it was pretty. I was thinner then than I am now, and now I'm pretty skinny, Anyway, but I was, I joined that way, and so it's absolutely. My life is proof. You do not need meat, fish, eggs, all these things in order to be healthy. So, and it's, you're not participating in this. There's no need. All these poor animals, and the way they keep them penned up, and it's horrible. And so that's demoniac. I don't really care, who gets hurt as long as I can have my senses satisfied. That's demoniac. So that's the verse that he just read. No cleanliness, no proper behavior. They don't know. No truthfulness is in them. And unfortunately, this is the age we live in. So to counteract that, we need a trustworthy guide for how to behave. Just like Srila Prabhupada is known as an acharya. This acharya principle is very important. Achar is a Sanskrit word that means behavior, what you do. And acharya means one who is an exemplar for how to live in this world. So the acharya studies the Shastra, knows it very, very carefully, lives according to it, and teaches it to others. And that's what Srila Prabhupada did. He came and he himself was an example of loving devotion, mercy, compassion, self-control, all the qualities that are mentioned at the beginning of this chapter. And he gave us a means, very simple means, that we can also cultivate those qualities. And it's the basic principle is this chanting of the mantra. The sound is so purifying. When you think about it, sound is such an essential element by which we learn things and which our consciousness is affected. Music can make you depressed. It can make you enlivened. It can enlighten you. So the sound of the pure teachings of Krishna in the Bhagavad-gītā can give us understanding of who we are, what this world is, what God is, and also give us the means by which we can experience ourselves as pure spiritual beings in relation to God. So that's what he's telling us now, and the contrast between the divine and demonic qualities. I met my Shiksha guru in the matter of editing. His name Jayawada Swami. For years I worked with him, and he is a wonderful writer. And he wrote articles for Back to God. And one of the articles he wrote that when I was working on the magazine is called "The Demons Among Us," and he showed how so many people have these qualities that are mentioned in this chapter, and we have to navigate in such a way that we don't also absorb, because when you associate with someone or something, then you get those qualities. I always like to point out it's a choice, right? You've chosen to come through this door. There's a little difficulty this time, but you came through the door, and to sit here. You go down 50 feet, and there's a nice bar and grill. You could go there and watch the game, whatever game it may be, and have a beer or whatever. So, and that would give you a different consciousness. The people who want to go to the bar would never think of coming in here, and those who come in here wouldn't think of going to the bar. Bar is a mode of ignorance. intoxication and these things, you know.
Sometimes I've seen here, they get drunk and they come here, and then they then they are more open to. I experienced this like a couple of days ago. This very young couple, they both were drunk. And they were asking me, what it is. The nature of the cosmos. Oh, wow.
This is Kali Yuga. In generally speaking, you know, the different type of person. All right, let's go on if there's no questions here. Okay, now this is a central verse. When I think of the qualities of demons and how they propagate their demonic philosophy, this is the verse. Text 8. Asatyam apratishtam te
Asatyam apratishtam
jagadahu anishwaram apadaspada sambhutam kimonyat kamahaitukam. They, the demons, say that this world is unreal, with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. Lust here means it means material desire in general. Intense material desire. Purport. The mnemonic conclude that the world is a phantasmagoria. There is no cause and effect, no controller, no purpose, everything is unreal. They say that this cosmic manifestation arises due to chance, material actions and reactions. They do not think that the world was created by God for a certain purpose. They have their own theory, that the world has come about in its own way and that there is no reason to believe that there is a God behind it. For them, there is no difference between spirit and matter, and they do not accept the Supreme Spirit. Everything is matter only. And the whole cosmos is supposed to be a mass of ignorance. According to them, everything is void, and whatever manifestation exists is due to our ignorance in perception. They take it for granted that all manifestation of diversity is a display of ignorance, just as in a dream we may create so many things which actually have no existence. Then, when we are awake, we shall see that everything is simply a dream. But factually, although the demons may say that life is a dream, they are very expert in enjoying this dream. And so instead of acquiring knowledge, they become more and more implicated in their dreamland. They conclude that as a child is simply the result of sexual intercourse between man and woman, this world is born without any soul. For them it is only a combination of matter that has produced the living entities. And there is no question of the existence of the soul. As many living creatures come out from perspiration and from a dead body without any cause, so the whole living world has come out of the material combination of the cosmic manifestation. Therefore, material nature is the cause of this manifestation, and there is no other cause. They do not believe in the words of Krishna in the Bhagavad-gītā. Maya jakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. This is in the 9th chapter. Under my direction, the whole material world is moving. In other words, among the demons, there is no perfect knowledge of the creation of the world. Every one of them has some particular theory of his own. According to them, one interpretation of the scriptures is as good as another, for they do not believe in a standard understanding of the scriptural injunctions. So, there are the atheists and there are the agnostics. Agnostic comes from the word gnostic, or gnosis, which is, I think, a Greek word that derives from the word jnana in Sanskrit. There's a lot of, yeah. Have you ever heard of jnana? So agnostic means, I don't know. Is there a God? I don't know. And the really serious agnostics say, and no one can know, you know. So, but it's different than atheism. Atheism means, I know there's no God, and I'm going to make sure that I propagate this truth because you religious people are ruining the world. You know, it's exactly opposite. And so, I was an agnostic. I mean, I wasn't sure that there was no God, but I wasn't sure there was a God. So I was open to explore. This is that openness to explore is a healthy attitude. But it's a dangerous thing to be agnostic because that means you can easily be influenced toward the lure that there's no ultimate God, therefore there's no ultimate morality, and if it feels good, do it. This was one of the mottos of the 60s. If it feels good, do it. But Yeah, we had the Prabhupada came, Krishna arranged for him to come in 1965, just when the immigration laws were loosening, and he was able to renew his visa, and stay in America long enough to really plant the seeds of devotion. Plus, when the movement, after a year, he was able to found the movement in 1966. He was struggling in Manhattan, And then he made some friends, and then in '67, that was the high point of the hippie era in San Francisco, the summer of love. Thousands of, you look at the old, reels, thousands of hippies, congregating, and everyone's dressed in a certain way and taking dropping acid, But there was a certain freedom to it. There was a sense of, And so Prabhupada was right in the middle of that. And he was able to propagate this chanting, and he had a quick following there. And the movement really started in earnest in San Francisco. In New York, they had these two temples at first. So the great value of that, and there was also so many dangers, overdosing, and then after the Summer of Love came '68, and that was Altamont. This was a drug changed. The methamphetamine became very popular, and you had those effects. And there was a big concert, and there was some killings at the concert, and everyone was kind of freaked out, and the whole thing kind of started to wane after that. Although it lasted into the '70s in some directions. But anyway, so the idea that because of the drug, LSD basically, there was an intimation of a God, There was some kind of a realization there. And so there was a lot of questioning and search for that. And Prabhupada came into the middle of that, and for those who were willing to hear him and try the mantra and chant, they opened up to the whole reality of it. It's such a powerful mantra. There's an Upanishad that talks about this mantra. It's called the Kali Santarana Upanishad. Kali Santarana means the Upanishad which delivers you from the ills of the Kali Yuga. Kali Santarana Parush. And these two essential verses there. The first of the verses is the mantra itself. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti Shorashakam Nam Kali Kalmasha Nashanam Natak Padataropaya Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. So he says these 16 words, the 16 words there, 3 names arranged in that way. Kali Kalmasha Nashanam can destroy all the evils of the age of Kali. Very powerful, people take to it. And you can look through all the Vedas, you will not find a more efficient, more effective way of purifying yourself in this Kali age than chanting this mantra. And so, and uniquely, if you go to India and you want to learn how to chant the Vedas, Vedic mantras, and there's many, many other verses you can learn, and you go to some rabbinical schools and say, no. We don't teach. You got to take your birth in a Brahmin family. What to speak of women, just being born in the West. There's all these restrictions, isn't it, for who can hear the Vedas, who can chant the Vedas, So, how do we have access? We're shut out, But the Hare Krishna mantra is not like that. Lord Chaitanya, who's Krishna himself, he came in this age, and he wrote 8 verses about the holy name. And the second one goes like this. Nam namakadi bahudani dasarva shaktis tatra pitani yamitak smarane nakalaha eta drishit vakripa bhagavan mamapi durdaiva hajan in anuraga. So I put in a little poem. He's saying Krishna, Govinda, and Keshava too. These are other names of Krishna. Krishna, Govinda, and Keshava too. Your names have no end, and in each of them you have invested your potencies, leaving none out. Whenever we want, we can chant them without the slightest restriction of time or of place. O Lord, who can fathom your infinite grace, but I am so wretched, devoid of all shame, that I haven't developed a taste for your name. So he's taking the role. This is God himself, and he's taking the role of someone who needs guidance in how to get attraction. But as far as the eligibility for chanting, everybody. If you have a tongue and an ear and a voice and a brain, then you can chant. That's everybody, practically. And what's the result? Anyone. if you take it seriously, you become purified. You can become greater than the greatest Brahmin. Because it's all a question of purification. As souls, we're entirely equal. Even that little bug you were protecting, which is a very nice sentiment, by the way, instead of stepping on him with, because we see every living entity as equal, ultimately. That bug could be a fallen devotee who made a big offense, and now he's crawling around in this floor. As opposed to the other trillions and trillions of bugs who have never get to take prasadam and never get close to the deity. That particular bug, who's now delivered, he's gone. But the point is that as human beings, we can understand. And if you like, you can chant free. There's no fee for it, and the benefit is unlimited. It's like this lottery. I walk around the block sometimes. At the corner, I used to be like $30 million now. Oh, the Maha thing is up to $335 million. Whoa, that's a dream. Let me make an investment. But this is the best investment. That's a little time, a little energy in chanting, and you open up the doors to immortality and unlimited happiness. You can't be happy. You may win the lottery. They've done surveys. The people who win the lottery are more unhappy than the people who lose the lottery, because then suddenly you're an ordinary guy on some menial job or something, or lady, whatever, and now you have $40 million, whatever, and suddenly all these old relatives and friends, and you can't just be, sit with your old friends, you don't know who's your friend. There's a devotee named Ambarish, who I know very well, because he was in Miami when I was there. And he's actually the heir of part of the fortune, the Ford Foundation fortune, $100 million. So, and he met Prabhupada, and he bought this beautiful temple in Detroit, for him and so many things. But then he began to feel that devotees were just making friends with him and trying to get his money, so he kind of withdrew for a little while, just for a while. Then he came back, and he's done tremendous service. There's an incredible temple being built in Mayapur, which is about 100 miles north of Calcutta, very holy place for us. And this is an amazing temple. This is big or bigger than the U.S. Capitol building, and it's going to be one of the biggest temples in India when it's finished in a few years. So, and he put in like $50, $100 million there, and now there's and he goes around and he's able to speak to some of the wealthiest people because he did it, and you should also do it. Also, you're pious, So anyway, this is so much more valuable. The mantra. It's like a philosopher's stone. It can transform your whole life, and it's free. And I remember starting to chant it, and I wasn't a Hare Krishna. I had my job in the hospital, and I had my little apartment, little car, But after chanting, and Krishna made arrangements where it says things, I can chant a lot more if I go and join the temple, So that it comes to that, the divinity in sound. There's a verse. It makes this world appear like bits of straw upon the ground. Resplendently it reigns supreme, divinity in sound. It's filled with transcendental bliss and peerless purity. The holy name of Shri Hari is surely all that be. Shri Hari is the name for Krishna. So this is the way that even if we have demonic tendencies, we can cleanse them away, and we can get saintly tendencies and qualities in order to pave our way back to Godhead. Well, I'm sorry I kind of going on, and it's now 8:14 according to my watch here. So we better end now and prepare for a nice ceremony with the deities, and we'll pick up there tomorrow in text number 9. Thanks for listening. And we have a new program now on Wednesdays. The last 15 minutes or so, we're going to record some of my poems. Jean is going to come with some paraphernalia and set up, and so that's what we'll have on Wednesdays. You're welcome to come.
You said you have poems on Wednesday?
Huh?
You said you're reciting your poems
on part of the class, yeah, Wednesday, because that's when Jean and his wife come. And he has some nice recording equipment. And I've written about 60 or 80 poems. And so we're going to record, and it'll be there for you. Everything is being recorded on YouTube now, Huh? And Jean. They come on Wednesdays, and he talked to me, and so he'll be coming tomorrow. So that's a special feature. Hare Krishna. And now we're behind. Uh-oh. Okay. So have you ever seen the deities?